live. Welcome back to Talk Live, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for another show right here on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Yes, indeed, I have my Blue Jay gear on. It was opening day, although I wish it wasn't opening day today because the Blue Jays got their asses whooped by the Baltimore Orioles today. That was a stunner and a beatdown of high repute. I'm sure this is one of the worst opening days in Blue Jay history today. It was just a nasty effort, and we were never in the game from the start. So, but again, there's always tomorrow, and it's only day one. So we have a chance to get back into things. So again, shout out to the Jays and their hopefully they'll have a better day tomorrow. But anyways. Thank you very much for joining me to Talk Live. We are back, and we are live here, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to the show here. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So let's get into this right away. I am a bit behind, but we're going to get into this straight in. And we're going to talk about polygamy and the very recent exploits of the one named Neo. And I think the movements of Shaq and how polygamy is being put back in the spotlight and how it's coming back, how it is indeed on the rise in the Western world, and again, as I said before on this show, it's a rich man's game. Polygamy is a rich man's relationship because again, in polygamy, you not only take care of yourself but the other women that are participants in polygamy, and it's mainly again a female, a male endeavor. Very few females engage in polygamy themselves, but or if they do, they don't do it on a long-term basis. But again, many of those who participate in polygamy are men indeed. So, but again, you need to not only take care of yourself, but also your wives and also their the children that you have from those wives. Sort of a tradition of polygamy, but also a tradition in the Muslim faith because the Muslim faith accepts the idea of polygamy as long as you cater to every whim of said ladies. But again, we'll get into that a little later in terms of its definition. But thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live. So let's get into it right now. And let's, start from the beginning as to what polygamy really is, the definition. So let's get into this, get into the browser here. So thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So let's get into, here we go. There we are. What are we doing here? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So let's get the definition of polygamy from the jump, before we launch into anything. So, so this lovely lady, again, Polyphilia blog, Polyphilia blog, and she's going to define what the difference between polygamy and polyamory is. Now, and I'll give you definitions of said things. So, examples of said things. So let's get into it here on Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into this.
The difference between polyamory and polygamy is very simple. Poly comes from Greek, meaning many, and amory comes from Latin, meaning love. So together, polyamory means many loves. On the other hand, polygamy is made up of poly, meaning many, and gamy, meaning marriage. So it means multiple marriage. The difference between polyamory...
So you heard that from the lady. So again, polyamory is the practice of having many loves or having many partners. So if you are, for example, in the lifestyle or in the swinging sort of tradition, then you're engaging, when you are in a polyamory relationship, you're engaging in a sort of a swinging sort of a lifestyle relationship where a man or a woman can have many loves, and they can and that can last for a short time or a long time. But that is the difference between and that is the polyamory definition and the example of polyamory definition. That people engage in the lifestyle. Now, again, as a single person, then you're not engaging in polyamory. But if you are in a relationship and you are allowed to engage in many partners, such as being in a lifestyle, then you're engaged in a polyamory relationship. Now, polygamy is something is something a bit different. And polygamy and polygamous relationships is the marriage of different people together as one, forming a unit. So a man may having 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, 5 wives, and this is a tradition not only engaged in Muslim tradition, but in many African countries, and also in many and as stated in many Muslim countries. So again, that's and it is seen as acceptable as long as the man who engages in said relationship. Now again, polygamy in many of these quarters, it's usually the man. Like 99% of the time, it's the man usually wifing up many women, and never the other way around, as it can happen in Western society. But I think they're in the distinct minority here as well. So it is a stage in which it's something that in which it should not go into it lightly, and usually it's a lifestyle that would only ask for a man of strong frame, who and constitution, who is very very honest in terms of what he wants, and also one who is well endowed with money, including stars or kings, or a man with a lot of land, as could be in Africa. So you have all these little these forms and dynamics of polygamy, and we're going to get into those tonight here on Talk Live. So again, it's that's the difference between polyamory and polygamy, because a lot of people conflate the two. So polyamory is the one of many loves, or engaging in many sexual partners, and in that way you're being a part of a lifestyle, as they say. And polygamy is one taking on many wives. So that is what we're talking about tonight. So let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into Neo, and his polyamorous relationship. Now, he has a polyamorous relationship. Some would call it polyamorous. Some would call it polygamous. We don't know how that is revealed right now. So let's call it polyamorous for now. It is yet to be confirmed if Neo indeed is married to all these women. But it looks like he is engaged in a lifestyle choice. This is a lifestyle choice, and we have the announcement here on of all places, Entertainment Tonight. Yes, one of the biggest entertainment. One of the biggest entertainment digests, one of the biggest entertainment magazines, TV magazines in history. It's been running for at least for nearly 50 years now, and so it is an institution. But they have this online forum here in which they announced the 4-way polyamorous relationship of Neo. So let's get into it right now in that announcement. And this took place about a few weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. There it is. So this is very, very new, very, 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 very fresh announcement. So let's get into it here on Talk Live.
Neo dropping a major love bomb, confirming his polyamorous relationship on Instagram. I love her 'cause she got her wrong. She got her wrong. The Miss Independent singer introducing not one, not two, but 4 women he's dating. Writing, since the world is so intrigued, I guess I should introduce my loves properly. Ladies and gents, I present my pyramid. You make me wanna sing another love song, loud enough for everybody to hear. Neo's in real life love song features Ariel Hill, Brianna Williams, Christina, and Money. And the romance seems to be strong, with 3 of the women referring to each other as wives on their shared IG account dedicated to their unique relationship.
I grew up in a house full of women. I was raised by all women. My mother, sister, grandmother, 5 aunts, and me till I was like 16. Mm-hmm. So if one thing that I learned is that respect is not optional. It's not something that you choose to give or don't give. It's something that you give, and you give that person the opportunity to keep it or lose it.
So,
How does their five-way relationship work? Neo breaks down their dynamic on Big Boy Neighborhood's radio show.
Who schedules? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it a money schedule because I'm the busiest? You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that always got something to do. And they're like, nights are they're random. It's random, but I'll go, all right, so for example, on this tour, I'll let this one come out for 7 days, then she go home, then this one come out for 7 days, and then this one come out for 7 days, and then we do something all together. Yeah.
As for Neo's 8 children, he tells the Ricky Smiley Morning Show they're aware of his relationships.
I'm not lying to nobody, not even my children. Hey, this is daddy's girlfriend, and so is that, and so is that, and so is that. You got no problem. She gonna make you some cereal, and she gonna cook lunch. And she gonna wash your clothes. Come on.
Neo's love pyramid comes 3 years after his divorce from ex-wife Crystal Renee.
If you are in a relationship and you don't want to be in a relationship, you're never gonna give your all to that relationship. You're never gonna be for that person who they need you to be. So don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you know that that's not what you want to do, then by all means cut the tie, because it's just gonna get more and more toxic until y'all eventually start resenting each other, and then there's almost no going back from that place.
Thank you, Entertainment Tonight Online. So there you go. That is the relationship. So, Neo had problems with his former marriage, and he was known as a womanizer. He was known for having multiple. He's had 8 children with multiple women, and he could not get into the one man woman life of Western marriage. So after his divorce from his former wife, who was explained there, she decided to, I'm not dealing with marriage anymore. I am taking on 4 women, and these 4 women in themselves say are wives of Neo. Now, that's a bit shocking, a bit grating for Western women to hear. They don't they believe that they are the only ones who that it should be a one man, one woman relationship marriage. That is most westernized marriage. That's most Anglo-Saxon marriages. But Neo doesn't conform to that, and it is truly because he is a high value man, a high status symbol. Yes, he is an entertainer indeed, and Kevin says that entertainers are in a different stratosphere in terms of their fitness, in terms of how they were seen as high value. But this is a man who believes that he doesn't have to conform to conventional norms and conventional institutions such as marriage, where it's a one husband, one wife relationship, and he has freed himself from that, knowing that he has he's of high value, and said, you know what, I'm going to have 4 black women who will be my wives, and we will all live together and live in a sort of polyamorous relationship. Now, it can be doubled as a polygamous relationship if allowed to last for a long time under common law. But again, that's something for legal for the family courts to decide. However, this is what he has, and he's unabashed in saying it. He says, "I've worked hard enough, and I've done my dirt to such an extent that I do not want to be a part of conventional marriage," and he wants his own way of doing things. Now, so thank you very much, Entertainment Tonight, for announcing that. So let's get into what Neo says about the whole lifestyle choice of being polyamorous. But again, this is conflated with, as you say here, he speaks on his polygamous lifestyle, but it's not a polygamous lifestyle really. It's a polyamorous lifestyle, but it's bordering on polygamous, to be fair. So let's hear what Neo has to say about his choice here on, I believe it's through the Black Polygamy Network. Shout out to them. Fair use to all these things, and it's I think it's through Lemon Drop that he had an interview here about his polyamorous / polygamous life. So let's get into this.
I'm not shitting on anyone who has figured out how to make that thing work for them. Mm-hmm. Again, everything's not for everybody. Monogamy's for you. Mm-hmm. It's not for me. I realize this. I know this now, and it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders I realized I spent so much time lying and trying to be somebody that I wasn't for the sake of somebody else. Complete and utter time wasted when I could have just been exactly who I am, said exactly what I want, exactly how I'm rocking, exactly how I'm not, and then waited for those people to gravitate to me.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he didn't want to cheat, didn't want to lie anymore because he was a known carouser and a known well well he liked getting around. He was a Rolling Stone, to be fair. And his 8 children are there to prove it as well. So he didn't want that life anymore. He wanted to live out in the open. He wanted to live his, as the lady said, live his truth, which is utterly grating. But he wanted to do his own thing. Let's say that he wanted to be his own man, and so he said, you know what? I have these 4 girls, and I have this sort of money, so I can live this sort of lifestyle. And these girls are conforming to that, knowing that Neo is who he wants to be because he's a high value man. See, this falls into the red pill in the sense of this is the ultimate. This is one decision that most men would love to have from time to time, where they can indeed, have 2 women, 3 women that they're taking care of, or being involved in some sort of lifestyle decision, some sort of sexual decision, and enjoy it for what it is. And a lot of these ladies don't. This falls away from the feminist ideal. To be fair, it falls way away from that. It falls away from also the traditional conservative idea of church state marriage and one man, one wife, and biblical scripture. So again, this is totally against the norm. This is totally out of left field. This is and this is something that is really frowned upon in the Western world, especially in the feminist era, in the post-feminist era. This is something that is really frowned upon. How can a man take on many wives? But the fact of the matter is, and I've announced it here on Talk Live, a lot of women these days would rather be a wife or a lover to a rich man than marry an average or a working class or a poor one. They much rather there's much more choice for a man of means to have these sort of relationships, and it's back in vogue these days. And a lot of women are accepting of these things. So again, this is not something that in which these women have a gun to their head. A lot of these women are accepting of being in a polygamous relationship. They are. They simply are, and they enjoy being in lifestyle. It looks like these ladies here are having fun that are in Neo's world, and they've introduced themselves. They can even call themselves sister wives in and of itself. I mean, you've seen the show on TLC of the same name, and they enjoy each other's company. So again, who are we to judge here in society? But again, you're going to get a few judgments, and we're going to hear some of those tonight here on Talk Live. Neo going into further discussion about having 4 girlfriends, 4 quote unquote wives of himself here, and he was here on I think it was yes indeed Big Boy's Neighborhood. Shout out to Big Boy's Neighborhood, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets, and do like and subscribe to him. So he is here with Big Boy in LA talking about his time and his life with 4 girlfriends, all knowing each other and all involved in the all involved romantically. Let's get into this.
So it started with there's one that's been around a little longer than everybody else.
And how long has that been?
A few years.
Okay.
A few years. And I just basically decided after my divorce, I decided, you know what, I ain't lying to nobody no more. I hurt a lot of people with just being dishonest about things that I could have been honest about.
Right.
So I'm not doing that no more. So the one that was around, she already knew that there was others, but it was never a situation where we were all together. So I just one day said, all right, listen, we're going to dinner, and I'm going to introduce you to her, and we're gonna see what happens. And by the grace of God, everybody got along. See, when you start,
You do
lead
say by the
with
grace
honesty,
of God.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because that
See
could
how
have
God works?
been way left. You know what I mean? It could have been real bad.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Be like, man, you hear what happened to Neo at dinner last night?
Well,
Yeah.
this is part of the Muslim religion, and they pray to the same God. So who are we to judge here? Let's continue.
Like I gotta go get an airbrush T-shirt. You know what I'm
Indeed.
saying?
The whole restaurant burned.
Yeah.
But no, they got along, and again, and I feel like it's because I led with honesty.
Right,
I let
yeah.
it be known. Listen, I like you, but I also like her, and I also like her. So here's what I want to do. I want to bring this whole thing together. If you with it, cool. If you're not, that's cool too.
Right.
No love lost. I recall in older relationships, where I messed up, got caught or whatever, and the girl said to me, "You took my choice away. You took my option away." And I never understood what that meant, because it's like, why would any woman choose to share? But to be honest, like when you lead with the option,
Right,
like, listen,
yeah.
this is not. I'm not forcing you to do anything.
Right.
I'm not misleading you or trying to. There's nothing like that.
No
It's
one's
all
lied
honest,
to. No one's
straight
in
up.
the dark.
That's the way it works.
So,
That's the way it works.
you know what I love about that too, man? And my wife went, "You love? What do you mean you love?" But no, it really lets them. It puts other people in control of their decision.
Excellent point there raised there by Big Boy, and great explanation there raised there by Neil. Thank you very much to Big Boy's Neighborhood for that exclusive sound clip. Yeah, I mean it puts everything on the table. It puts everything in the open, and it asks everybody to. They can stay if they want to stay, or leave if you want to leave. There's no problem in that, and I think Neil is indeed enjoying his life now as a polyamorous individual with 4 girlfriends, all knowing of each other and enjoying the lifestyle in which they live. And it's not hurting anybody. It's not hurting anybody. Although it does go against certain social mores, but it's not hurting anybody for them to be involved in these sort of relationships. So this is where we stand right now, and Neo is quite proud of of what he's done here, and it has led to praise and criticism alike here. So let's just see if there's any other things here. Any other things here? Yep, indeed. But just getting back to the next interview. Here we go. So getting back to the next interview, we're gonna have a chat with, yes, indeed, THPP Network. Shout out to THPP Network, a great aggregator of all things Black Twitter, Black YouTube, and doing wonderful things in YouTube streets. So like and subscribe to THPP Network. But yes, Neil has a fan. Neil has a fan in Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, Shaquille O'Neal is not immune from a one-person marriage himself. He married a woman, and they were together for many a year. But he was known as a bit of a as is the way of a lot of NBA players. Not saying the majority. I'm saying a lot of NBA players. They tend to throw their weight around in more ways than one, especially around groupies who stick to them like white on rice, quite simply, especially sticky rice. Let's say that. And Shaquille O'Neal is a fan of what Neil has done, so much so that he has his own little harem of his own here. So we're gonna get a little explanation here from THPP Network, a little aggregation of how Shaquille O'Neal is indeed praise of Neil for his decision. And we have a comment here from Lana. She is saying DeRay Davis has a similar relationship and has talked about it in his stand-up. Yes, indeed. DeRay Davis, the comedian, yes, indeed, he has a polygamous relationship. But I think DeRay Davis, unfortunately, doesn't have the star power of a Neil. Neil is a quote-unquote A-list celebrity and would give much more shine to the idea than a DeRay Davis, although DeRay is indeed a polygamist himself. But once you have Entertainment Tonight coming to highlight your relationship, you're a man about town. You're definitely an A-lister in the music industry, and he has had many hits. He's written many a song, and he's done many a thing. So again, DeRay Davis, shout out to you, sir. But I think with the likes of Neo shining a light on this, and also Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest NBA players of all time, and definite fan of what Neo is doing. It definitely brings light to the idea of polygamy. Definitely brings light to the idea of polyamory. And we're going to get into this right here on Talk Live with THPP Network. Thank you very much, Lana BK, for the comment. And let's get into this.
Unafraid.
Most divorces happen because people say, I didn't know. I have to know. I gotta know every angle.
How long does it take you to learn every angle, though?
I don't know. I got 4 white girls now, so go back and forth.
You met Shaq house yesterday, right?
Yo!
And this man is living like Neo. He got 4 white big booties, and then like one is in the kitchen cleaning, the other one is in the basement.
Shaq,
4.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah,
4. He got 4 wives.
4 white women.
Does Shaq want you to say this?
Yes.
You'll
never get invited to his house.
Yeah, no, I don't give a hot goddamn.
You world.
Okay, before my man Corey Holcomb launches into it, but she did spill some tea on Shaq. He didn't exactly want to put it out there, but she did. So I think Shaquille O'Neal retorted it, and that's the first part of things. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you got 4 white women, catering to your every woman, you must be doing something right, because 4 white women ain't going a hell damn near any black man's house and doing any sort of thing unless they know his bank is bank. So yeah, Shaquille is he's a very, very high value man, one of the top 10 players of all time in the NBA. One of the best centers of all time in the NBA, and quite simply doing wonderful things on inside the NBA and his endorsements and his sales. And he's a multi-millionaire. That's how big Shaquille O'Neal is. He is certainly untouchable in many spheres, not only mainstream but also in the black community. And for him to have snow bunnies all over the house, he's doing something right. He's doing really something right. And far be it from us to criticize, including the likes of Jess Hilarious. We had her little fallout with the Breakfast Club has been quite legendary, quite simply, and her crash out regarding her replacement was not really her replacement, her coworker was simply stunning. But anyways, we're back into it here on Talk Live. Corey Holcomb, if you ever get a chance to listen to what this man has to say at night, please do. This man is drop down hilarious, and I think he's revolutionizing the game in terms of YouTube. Shout out to my man Corey Holcomb. He is taking names and numbers, my friend, and he gives no quarter to anybody. If he sees something that he needs to call out, he will call out, and he will do a job on you. He will eviscerate you. Pause. I'm enjoying the show more and more these days. But let's hear what Corey Holcomb has to say about Jess Hilarious exposing Shaq.
Renowned, right? He went up Shaq house telling all his business.
Oh my God, that's what I was going to talk about.
Am I right, though?
Oh my God, that was horrible.
She was up Shaq house and talking about what the Shaq got going on in his house. You, Kendra G, and the doctor need to get together and have on Corey's show.
She decent looking.
She decent.
He's talking about Dr. Brian, if you didn't know. There we go.
Looking, goddammit, but the is a lying, dumb mother. You be lying. You ain't even relevant no more. People got tired of talking about you. Now you faded off. My best friend Shaquille O'Neal said this.
Oh, that's Shaq's best friend?
What? According to a big come tell you, me and Corey, we kicking it strong. If you believe that, Craig, I'll never speak to you again.
I mean, I don't know Shaq. I know he is a decent individual. I can't imagine him being no sucker like that, though.
Yeah.
No, that's what she said.
Oh,
she said, me and Shaq, my best friend Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, friend. I was
Shaq
just at
don't you like that.
that he had a bunch of white girls.
2 of them was like beautiful, bad. I'm like, okay, all right, Shaq, I see what you're doing. Then I seen the other 2 come out the back, and I was like, oh, all right, they getting there. They need a little bit more work.
Why you ain't DM Dr. Umar and report this?
Because Dr. Umar got something of his own that he going on right now. He going through right now. So I chose to leave that brother alone. But
Shaq looked out for my cousin back in the day. So anytime I defend Shaq.
I know about Shaq looking out for a lot of people.
Yeah.
He has a reputation of helping people. Les Hilarious go to his house and talk about his house.
Yeah, I ain't do what you eat the food and chill out.
Eat the food and leave. That's what you're there for if you don't know. Shaq a nice guy. Shaq probably be like, hey, you want to watch TV? Bitch. Now Shaq ain't got to say nothing.
And
If you go to Shaq house now, if the Breakfast Club over for you, you got to.
She thought Shaq.
My man literally laid it on the line. Yes, it did. You ain't getting entry until he gets entry, if you know what I mean. But yes, you know what? I have been friend. I have a person that I can call a very influential individual in this city, Carlos Oberoi, and he used to work for Shaq and his company for many years while he was still in the NBA, and still calls Shaq a friend. And it's God damn it! I stabbed myself with this goddamn toothpick. Can you believe it? Anyways, nonetheless, hopefully there's no bloodletting there. But anyways, let's let the show go on. But yeah, Carlos Oberoi knows of Shaq's goodness, knows of Shaq's philanthropy, and this is a known fact that Shaq is one who gives a lot to charities, both known and unknown, and he is an all-around good guy. For someone like Jess Hilarious to get in his business like that, it is out of line. It is out of pocket, and she clearly needs a check. And for that, my dear, all that nonsense you're getting from the Breakfast Club today is truly deserved. And so, indeed, Corey Holcomb is absolutely right, and he has worked hard, and he's supporting his ex-wife and his, I think it's 8 children he has. I think he has 8 kids. What is with these polygamists and their children, and these polyamorous people and their children? And we're gonna get to one a little bit. One well-known one, and that is NC Nick Cannon. Anyways, but yeah, these guys are. Shaq is taking care of business, so it's his business if he has white girls over there in the first place. I guess you want to be one of the girls who was cleaning up for him. Let's go. Let's continue.
Shaq was gonna try to. He brought her over for the gardeners. Gardener.
Oh my! No, but
Juan's been good to me, man.
Motherfucker, tell him what's in the house.
Yeah.
When you go to a man's house, you are supposed to collect and leave.
Right.
What else is there to do at a man's house?
Eat his woman's butt.
Eat his woman's butt.
Maybe he brought her over to eat. No. She seemed like a fluffer.
She looked like she ate some.
Yeah, she definitely. Yeah.
Antonio Vargas' face. So Starsky and Hutch looking at that.
Looks for the camera here. Let us see a little flirty fun. That's good. I like this eye contact.
Sad and pouty.
You'll never be sad and pouty with you sitting there.
Oh.
And look who's there. It's Roxy, who we featured here on Talk Live previously. How she has, her and Julissa, and her Dominican friend have literally tried to be high value women and have paid the price in the process in their 40s and still can't get no man. I don't know, but again, Shaq is shooting a shot here. Let's let it go.
Oh, that was cute. This guy.
She's always in my DM. I just want to let you know.
Is she?
Oh my God. I'm in your DMs.
She's in my DM.
I'm in your DMs. I'm
No,
probably
she
one of
says.
millions that are in your DMs if that's the case.
You know what she says? She says, even though I'm Spanish, you know I like that chocolate.
Oh!
I said, for real? And I tell
That is for real. That is definitely for real. That ain't a lie. Let's go.
her, once you go Shaq, you never go back.
I heard you dated one of Shaq's exes. You couldn't feel the shoes, literally or figuratively.
Nah, yeah,
Why would you do that?
don't ever at the Shack. That's the point. Like, don't do it.
Why? Why would you do that?
I didn't know at the time. She told me later. After I got up, I was like, man, that was real hollow. That was real hollow. Why was that so hollow? I'm whistling in this one. Just nothing.
Come on.
Nathan. Touch nothing. Touch nothing. Oh, nothing at all. And I was just like, yeah. So who did you used to deal with? She told me, and I was like,
Oh, sorry about that. Wait, we'll go back to that.
she should tell everybody in the street. She should go, hey, my name is such and such, and you know I'm Shaq. They'd be, oh, okay, well, nice meeting you, sister.
Yeah.
You know, Little Shaq.
You ain't go back though?
No, I ain't go back, man. I was traumatized. I was traumatized, and Jack, you I'm telling you, don't nobody. If Shaq, just keep it moving.
First thing I do.
Shout out to my man Deion Cole. Very, very funny man. Very, very good stand-up. I saw him when he was here in Toronto a couple of years back as part of Russell Peters' comedy tour, and he tore down the place. The guy's literally funny, and shout out to him. Doing wonderful things in YouTube streets, and especially his Old Spice commercial. Let's go.
Wake up. I said, hey, you all right? Interview today. Oh, you interviewed on me? All right, I'll be right behind you. I'm just playing them.
Polite savages.
Let's go on here. Let's get going.
My goodness. But back to the subject at hand, because perfection is perfected. Let's just let them understand that if you're a high-value cat, a billionaire, on boards, you probably have your pick of the litter. Shaquille O'Neal has been in the public eye for most of these folks' entire life. And for them to think that he has to settle for one woman after he's already been down the aisles of matrimony is straight up foolishness, because Shaq is having it his way. Fool walking around there looking like a Burger King ad back in the day.
Polygamy says you can marry two people at the same time.
Yes, indeed. Let's face facts. Shaq is Shaq. Shaq is a multi-millionaire. He is a pitchman extraordinaire. He is one of the top 50 NBA players of all time, top 75 players of NBA players of all time, top 10 players of all time in the NBA. One of the greatest centers in history of the NBA, and one of the top personalities in NBA history. The guy can do no wrong, okay? So as long as he treats people right, who are we to judge? Let's continue.
Monogamy says you cannot marry them at the same time. You have to let one go. Mm-hmm. What if you don't want to let that one go?
The literal definition of polygamy is it's acknowledging that one can be in love with more than one person. That's not some weird thing, you know what I mean? But people they put a governor on that form of expression because this is a Eurocentric type of setup that we live under, which it wasn't like this in other places of the world.
Too right said there by Mike Rashid. He said some disparaging things about Myron from Fresh and Fit recently, but which didn't exactly make sense. But anyways, he is right on this subject. This is a Eurocentric idea that is polygamy, that is that is institutional marriage. And this is very, very much a Anglo-Saxon, Eurocentric idea of a man marrying one woman. Again, in most Muslim places around the world and many African places around the world, this is something that can be accepted, especially in the religious world, but not always. In many African countries, polyamory and polygamy is considered legal. In many Muslim countries, polygamy and polyamory are considered legal. And, it's definitely frowned upon in the West because they're not used to experiencing it. But if this was a tradition, if this was more of a Muslim country, then you'll see more of it. But unfortunately, it is frowned upon because, again, it goes against the tenets of most Christian sort of places of worship, and those and also it goes against feminist ideals. So you put those two together, and you have a concoction of vitriol, hate, and ridicule of the idea. However, if one has the wherewithal to continue it, let that thing continue. But again, the feminist mindset and feminist lawmakers would never allow that to be law in the United States or in the Western world. Period. Let's continue.
In other places of the world where polygamy is normal, they don't have a high divorce rate like we have here. You forcing people together, just one and one.
Instead of getting divorced, they get married again.
Yeah, right. It's like that energy is dispersed. You have to be a temperate person with some wisdom, with some experience in life to be able to control that and handle it and keep peace and order.
Very good point raised there by Mike Rashid. Yes, indeed. It was this sort of behavior, where polygamy and polyamory are allowed, but definitely polygamy, there are very low divorce rates. Where in the Western world, divorce rates are at 50%, and in many Muslim countries, including African countries, you have divorce at a very low rate. Something that we can learn from, something that we consider here in the Western world, and it's a shame that that we live in a society in which the Christian in terms of Roman Catholic / Christian world and feminism rule, but these are the parameters in which we are placed under, and so polygamy will never truly be accepted in the West. So we have to come to grips with that here in the West, unfortunately. But therefore, when you hear the likes of Shaq, when you hear the likes of a Neo going, engaging in said lifestyle, engaging in said institutions, it shouldn't be a shock, but it is a shock because we live in a society where it has to be one man, one wife, and if you don't adhere to such things, you are punished financially, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. And so that's why you say, who really truly won the battle of success of the sexes? It's women, really. However, men are striking back in such a form, and women are falling in line because, simply put, as stated, if women given the choice between being a sister wife or one of a girlfriend of a high value man, or being a true wife and true wife to an average to below average to working man to a poor man, all women would choose the rich guy, being a rich man's wife, as been seen by Nick Cannon, as been seen by Neo, as been seen by Shaq, as been seen by DeRay Davis, as was stated here. You know what? And women are willing to be wives and share a man. There it is. Women are totally willing to share a man if given the opportunity, if that man is successful, is confident, intelligent, assertive, and is a man who's is about that lifestyle, is about that life, and is willing to provide not only for all the women in his life, but also their progeny as well. Let's continue.
Like the struggle Dr. Bryant tried to pin Neo as being some type of maniacal maniac when he admitted that he was just unable to stay with one woman, so now he has 3 women. Well, I'm not saying it's the best thing for everyone to do, but apparently it's the best thing for him to do.
I realized that I've not been living my truth for a very, very long time. I'm living it now, mentally, emotionally, and everything, and everything else. I'm in a really good space. And I realized that everything is not for everybody. I am not on marriage. I am not on anyone who has figured out how to make that thing work for them. Mm-hmm. Again, everything's not for everybody. Monogamy's for you. It's not for me.
Oh, okay.
But on the player side, that's nice. It's really nice. I'm gonna tell you why it's nice. Ego-wise, you can get one and you make one mistake. Yeah, but my boy got 4. Man, that's nice. Boy.
But that's 4 times the emotion.
For who?
For him.
I don't know about that. Like, I see that the stuff is going on. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's nice. Looking on the outside, it's nice.
Allegedly, his now ex-wife, I believe she is, or his ex, she's saying that he never wanted to be poly at first, and now he wants to be poly. And she feels like that's an issue because they have kids, and how you gonna have that around the children?
No.
Well, let me ask
so
you
what is Neo to you, Dr. B?
He's a womanizer. He cheated on his wife, and that's why she left him. He didn't cheat once. He cheated over and over again. He's a womanizer.
So there you go. Well, hold on. Let's just hear the womanization. Hold on.
This is the tea. While the is in the house, I asked him not to bring the in the house. I even came over here to help him with these kids because he won't watch these kids. Tell him about the freak off, Diddy Jr. Diddy Jr. Tell him about the freak off. Tell him about the freak off.
And now what he's...
So there you go. I mean, once a man has a choice of women, women are automatically, especially in the West, especially black women, Lord knows, they are all of a sudden they're going to get their back up. They are very much against such traditions. Now, Dr. Bryant here, who was featured here on Talk Live previously, she is going to, she has something objectionable to that himself because this was a part of her life for a time there, and again, and we're gonna get into that in just a bit. But to be fair and frank, this is the Western feminist gynocratic mindset in full view. That is all about one man, one wife. He's devoted to her for the rest of his life. He must try to expose him for who for what he wanted to do and who he was. Now again, he wasn't. He had 8 kids. He wasn't exactly the most responsible of fathers with his seed. However, he said, you know what? He is doing away with the secrets. He's doing away with the lies. He's doing away with the nonsense he had to deal with, including being filmed by his ex for the world to see on a live chat, so the world would see see him for who he was, quote unquote. But you know what? From that he said, you know what? I'm not dealing with the headaches. I'm not dealing with the nonsense anymore. And he's bringing in women who adhere to his lifestyle and enduring the best part. The highest earning, the best part of his life, he's going to enjoy himself. And he is not going to hide or kowtow to the likes of Ms. Bride, to the likes of his ex-wife anymore. And to the applause of one Shaquille O'Neal. But we're going to hear from Dr. Bryan as to why she indeed has such opprobrium against what Neo is doing and what Shaq is applauding. Let's go.
Doing is, as a womanizer, he's gaslighting himself and that wife to make it seem like he wants polyamorous when you never wanted polyamorous from the beginning. You wanted to be married but didn't have the discipline to do it, and your wife left you because she didn't tolerate that.
And this is from a woman who couldn't get married herself. Rich, huh? Let's go.
She pivoted from you, and now you're going and he's making these other women pay for the heartbreak that he caused to himself by saying, I want to be polyamorous.
You are the type of woman that guys will lay up with, and then after that, they ain't gonna want to hear nothing you got to say. This is what we do. Unfortunately, we sleep with women like Dr. Bryan, and then as soon as we're done, we're like, shut up talking to me. I don't want to hear nothing else you got to say.
Well, my boy got...
Indeed. That's exactly what that's why Dr. Bryan is alone right now. She's single, alone. I'm sure she has a dog or a cat somewhere. And, she's living her life. But no man wants to be around her. Nobody wants to wife her. And that's the reason why she is out of date at this point in time. No man wants to deal with the IVF. So they're going to younger. They're going to a little less aggressive. A little more cooperative and submissive, and not dealing with the likes of Ms. Bryan, because all she has to do is give nonsense to other guys when she's not exactly doing well in relationships herself. She's a failure in relationships. Let's face facts. She has all the looks. She has all the beauty. She could have easily married a man, but she couldn't even get one man, let alone 3 or 4 herself. Funny that. Let's go.
4 wives? That's nice. That's nice. Neo. Send me that manual how you did it, my boy. That shit's nice.
But my question...
Not only did he send him the manual, he's doing it himself. He's got 4 white girls cooking, cleaning, and tending to marital matters for him. Just saying. Let's go.
What is this, ma'am? Why do you have such a hard time understanding that he wants to live his life? For somebody who wants people to live healthy, happy lives, it sure seems like you don't want him to be healthy or happy.
My father
she doesn't want any man having the freedom to choose many women, because she can't get one man herself. So she doesn't want any man getting 4 or 3 or 2, let alone 1. Especially if you have the confident, intelligent, and assertiveness, and are indeed a man of leisure, a man of means, such as Neo. I mean, to each his own, but that I just call that sincere hating, to be fair and frank. Let's go.
Has 6 of us by 5 women. I'm doing it from being a product of what I was in to understand.
Let me rewind that back just a little bit. There we go. Let's hear what she had to say there.
Happy.
My father has 6 of us by 5 women. I'm doing it from being a product of what I was in to understand how it feels to be on the receiving end as one of the kids who had a blend, to know what it feels like to be.
Now, she was one of 6 children from 5 different, one of 6 kids from 5 different women. Yes, you can say, indeed, the man was wrong for moving around and being a Rolling Stone and all that. But who, indeed, chose this man? That's my question. That's the eternal question. They probably knew that he had at least 2 or 3, 4 kids in the background, but yet they thought that they could civilize him. They could tame him. They could be the one to end the streak. Shout out to Fazai's Fuden. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live. Shout out to Chanel. Shout out to DJ Hollywood for joining me here tonight. So let's continue. Yes, there is blame to be apportioned to the father. There's no doubt about that. But women have to take the blame themselves because they chose a man who indeed was a philanderer, a womanizer, a carouser, and a man, to be fair, in demand. Let's continue.
On the end of experiencing by observing my father being the best father, but a womanizer and a horrible man. And a womanizer, to your point, is not a man who's just taking advantage of women. It's a man who is dealing with multiple.
How can a man be a great father and horrible? I'll let you decide that. Let's continue.
Women at one time, and he's deceiving them because they do not know that. It doesn't matter if he's sleeping with them. It doesn't matter if he's just going to dinner with them. If there's any deception in that, he is a woman.
When it comes out, before you even confront me, you should already know.
Right.
Right? Because I don't want to come home to no bullshit.
Right.
So you should be able to see some and be like,
this ain't nothing.
Yeah, this ain't nothing. I hate who is this and what is this. Like if you don't know me, it's fine. But if you know me and you're looking at the clues, I'm like, really? I gotta explain myself for this? Really? Okay. So somebody that knows me.
So what did he say there, Shaquille O'Neal? Is the fact that every time he came home, he didn't want the shouting, the accusation, who is this, what is this? He did not want the continued confrontation. He wanted a high-value woman who was fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. I'll show you who has that woman right now, other than a Neo, other than a Shaquille O'Neal at the moment, in a bit. And he'll tell you what it takes to be involved, to have a woman who allows for simple decorum when there are disagreements. And understand that she is with a high-value man, so she should indeed, well, not be so critical of him. Let's say that. Not be so critical of him. But again, there are cheating rules, indeed, that he must adhere to. But in engaging in this polyamory, polygamous lifestyle, you are letting the world know of your actions, and who's to fault that? Who's to be ashamed of that? This is something that goes against Western traditions of conservatism and of feminism. Lord knows they are the biggest critics of this, but who is being hurt by what these men are doing? No one. It's just that they cannot satisfy the female psyche, that they alone cannot satisfy any woman. I listen, if you ever get a chance to listen to Fresh and Fit, please do, because every single time they talk about this, they pretty much enter into these discussions about polygamy, enter into these discussions of polyamory, and how indeed women, when they find these exceptional men, should be thankful that they are in their lives, because they have the choice of any woman. But with those women having the name on the door and their the name on the lease, the name on the title on the, have their bills paid, have their children raised properly, having all these things to themselves. They should be so lucky. They're one of the lucky ones. They're one of the top 15% of the world. And for them to close the door and say, you know what, it's only you and me, and if your punishment for not adhering to that is divorce. Look at her. Look at Dr. Bryant. She looks very frustrated and upset. Let's continue. Let's hear what she has to say. Funny.
Isn't just this, or just this, or just this. Emotionally, you are deceiving me.
Yeah.
You're abusing that person. And it's not okay. It's okay not to be perfect, but it's not okay to deceive and to sit up there and be a wolf in sheep clothing. And what I get on women about is you picked a wolf who showed you he's a wolf. You put the sheep clothing over him, and every time he shows his teeth, you gaslight him. But you knew who you chose.
But this is the
Absolutely. Okay, so I could take criticism for what Dr. Bryant is saying, but that last part, I have to agree with her. A lot of these women are sleeping with these men surely out of the fact that they are high-value men. They knew what they were getting involved with. They knew they were going to be wolves in sheep clothing. They knew they were going to be they are, confident, intelligent, assertive, and have done the work to be considered high-value men. And if given the choice, a lot of these men are going to cheat, if not buy into these sort of relationships, polyamory and polygamy, because they can provide for not only themselves but for others as well. But women see these wolves as so described by Dr. Bryant and say to themselves, "Hey, I can still change him. I can make him a one-woman man." No, you're not. A man had to work too hard to get to that level of life where he is a one-woman man. As long as he doesn't adhere to the cheating rules, no babies, no big-ticket items, no sexual diseases, no embarrassment, it's kind of hard for you to turn around and say, okay, fine, well, but again, this is changing over time. A lot of women are starting to fall in line, knowing how difficult it is to, to operate a family and a life in this world, and the cost of living and such. I was having a discussion with this with my barber, and he was saying himself that a polyamorous relationship is something that, he would encourage. He would indeed understand, because again, not only are you bringing a woman, you're bringing another woman, another entity that can bring life, happiness and good works to your life, but also they're helping to relieve any sort of economic burdens that may be upon you within a two-person relationship. Especially in the West, especially if she's a good earner herself. But again, that's more the more of a feminist slant on things. But for the most part, a man should be, well endowed financially for you to take on other women and enjoy this lifestyle. This is a rich man's relationship. Let's face facts. That's what polygamy. Well, not really polyamory, but definitely polygamy. That's a rich man's relationship. And unless you are have the financial wherewithal, and unless you are confident, intelligent, and assertive enough to handle said relationship, then you shouldn't get into it at all. But should we begrudge these gentlemen for what they're doing? If you're of the religious vein, I understand, but probably not. To be fair, they pay the cost to be the boss. So who are we to judge? Let's go.
Hypocrisy that we have today. Most of these ladies, they engage in a very dirty polygamy, meaning that the man that they're seeing has separate kids. Come on, ma'am. Let's really think about it. You got with a dude with 3 kids by 3 different women, and you think that you're going to magically keep him in line, and he's going to forsake all his other kids, throw everything to you, and just be with you. No, you absolutely understand what...
Yep, we're going to stop it here on IG. Come on back for the second hour of Neo and Shaq making polygamy great again. Come on back for that hour 2. And thank you very much for joining here and Talk live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into the second hour here, and let this THPP video continue. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But indeed, it's let me just do the introduction here on IG. Back again here on IG for the second hour on this subject of polygamy, of polyamory, and how Neo and Shaq have made it great again, quite simply. And it is, for as was alluded to there in the THPP video, for a man to work that hard and to become a high value man, and for a woman, and this is such a great analogy by Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit that I always remember. For a man to be told that you can only have one candy or stay down one aisle in order to receive sexual gratification is madness. It is madness because given the choice, now again, men have have their own choices to make. But if given the choice, most men would take a polyamorous relationship if they can afford it. They can. Most men would get into affairs if they can afford it because, again, for a lot of men, it is indeed, it is. I think I wouldn't say a goal, but it is a choice to be it is great to have that choice between not only one woman but many women. But again, all has to be done in so for a man to have the opportunity to do this in the open and for him to be shamed because of it makes no sense. Let's continue.
You're doing. You're adding yourself to the roster because this guy, he's the top, the cream of the crop, made you tingle down under. Now imagine if you add some money to this personality, how faithful is he really gonna be? It's almost a better situation to let him have a couple of wives, take care of them, and be responsible. And let's go on and pivot on back to Mr. Shaquille O'Neal. He's paid the cost to be the boss. He's done everything he's supposed to do in life. He's successful, well-spoken, a doctorate. He's a catch. So what the entire hell do you think this man is going to do settling for one woman if that's not what he wants? Would you rather him be honest to himself or lie to you to make you feel better? Sometimes...
Good point raised there by THPP Network. Yes, indeed. I mean, Shaq is Shaq. Shaq is a multi-millionaire. Shaq has many kids, yes, and by a few different relationships. But he can take care of all those kids. You don't see them acting out of line. He is a good father. He is a good provider. Plain and simple. So for us to hate on Shaquille O'Neal, that's ridiculous. And for what Jess Hilarious did on the Breakfast Club, that's well, listen, you deserve to get clowned by Corey Holcomb. Some people, I say, oh, Corey, you've gone too far, man. You've gone too far. But in that case, nah. She deserved that. She deserved that. She deserved that little bit of criticism in the funniest way there by Corey Holcomb. But yeah, I mean, a man like Shaq, a man like Elon Musk, a man like let's consider it. I mean, a man like Nick Cannon, a man like Neil, a man like Shaq, a man like DeRay Davis. All these men have done the work, and women are in compliance with being held as the other woman. Hell, I could say Jalen Rose as well. I saw a picture of him with all of his all the women he has dealt with and all the baby mamas he has come together for Christmas. And everybody's in their, are in their pajamas and open up Christmas presents together. This is a new thing. This is something that is not going away, people. It is not going away, especially with the change, with ideas and morals changing by the day, by the minute, by the hour. And this is something that is not going away. And men have had this feeling for years. It was admonished for a few decades, a few centuries, simply because of conservative lifestyles, conservative thinking. But now it's back in vogue, especially with Western men. Especially with Western men who are hearing, indeed, the red pill. Let's continue.
should just kick back, look at the way the world's turning, the idiocracy of it all, and say, make it make sense. You dig?
I would like to get married, but again, it's got to be with that mother. A friend, man. Even if you feel stressed, you gotta believe in yourself that this ain't bigger than us. You can't keep making situations bigger than us. That if we are going to grow together, we're going to constantly have issues. Because the level that we are on now, we got issues on that level.
Right.
Now, if we go here, it's new issues with this. Now we get to this level, we got a new house, we got new that. Now we got a new neighbor. But for every level, it's a new devil. You know what I mean? And so therefore you have to deal with that. They go to another level and then they argue. And they never think, no, we got another issue. We got different issues on this different level. Right. If we now making money and we successful, that's gonna come with extra hoes, extra like that. And so therefore you got to be able to handle that.
Thank you for listening. Very good points raised there by Dion Cole. Yes, indeed. I mean, for every level, there's a new devil. There is indeed. And with the success of men such as Shaquille O'Neal, such as Neo, their new levels brought new devils, and they could be in the form of females, calling them out for what they are. Now, again, some of his dirt was done in darkness, and that came to light, and that wasn't well appreciated. So Neo decided to only deal in truth, only deal in honesty, and letting women know that this is indeed what it is. And you know what? Women are signing up. Go figure. Again, they don't want to be a wife to a broke man. Go figure. Because, as Myron says himself, even they are going to cheat too. So, would you rather cry in a Corolla or a Maybach? And most women are choosing Maybachs. So thank you very much for THPP for that little rundown as to the homeostasis, the current positions of Neo and Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, indeed. So let's get into this. And this is a great explanation from Myron. This is a great explanation from Myron from Fresh and Fit. Now, a lot of people don't like him, but this is the state of season because he is engaging in in sort of a polyamorous relationship, open on his end and closed on his girlfriend's end. And but again, he is a millionaire. He is a successful. He has a successful platform that is Fresh and Fit, and more successful platforms such as Myron Gaines X. And Myron Gaines X, and he is and listen, he is has a multi-million-dollar portfolio of properties. He knows the high value man. He knows he can indeed call shots, and with those call shots, he can tell his woman that, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. You're gonna stay home and you're going to observe what I say. If not, I'll move on. And you know what the women say? They can't move on. And as Myron says himself, you only get that sort of gravitas, that sort of status, only if you are the man amongst men. You are a high value earner. You're a man of status. You're a man of success. You're a man of clear influence. And with that, women will, kowtow to your demands. But let's hear what Myron has to say on this subject regarding polygamy and polyamory. Let's go.
And are you single? Well, I have a relationship. I have a girlfriend, but, it's open on my end.
So, how does a man get a woman to commit to him while he's still pursuing other women?
It's not easy. Number one, you got to be on point. You got to have your money on point. You got to have your frame on point. You obviously have to be honest up front. I was up front with my girl. I told her, look, I'm not going to be monogamous. I don't believe in monogamy. I think it's a lie. It's a scam. Most guys that get involved in it, always end up regressing, going back to being polygamous, whether they do it overtly or covertly. And I was just very honest up front. And obviously, I take care of her as well. I think that's very important. You have your masculine burden and performance, and you have to be that guy where you're that dude. You know what I mean? You got to take care of her and fulfill her in all different types of ways. Financially, emotionally, be her leader, etc.
Great point raised there by Myron. You have got to be the man. You have got to be the man. That's the reason why Neo can get away with what he does. Shaq can get away with what he does. Nick Cannon can get away with what he does. Jalen Rose can get away with what he does because they are men amongst men. And women will adhere to their leadership and understand the rules of the game if they are a man amongst men. If they can provide a certain level of excellence, a certain level of protection and provision that you can't get in most places, if not anywhere else. Let it be said here, guys, even in a marriage such as Beyonce's marriage, which everybody holds on to as being, or in terms of let's go a little different. Let's go to Barack Obama. I mean, there was a rumor allegedly he slept with Jennifer Aniston. I would believe that. But because Barack is Barack, because Jay-Z is Jay-Z, because these men are the best, the brightest, the most successful of men, the top 1%, they have entire leeway to do as they please. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had to take it on the chin, of course, but he's never married again. Why? Because I'm sure of it, he's still living life the way he wants to live it on his terms, and he would not suffer the embarrassment that he did before. He's not going to do it. Tiger said, okay, Ms. Nordegren, here's your money. It's not as if I don't have more or can't make more, but I'll be a good father to my kids, and I will live the life that I live, because his dad lived the same life, but it was within a marriage setting. But he said, I'm going to be more of, more of a private guy, but I'm sure he engaged in a little polyamory along the way. Absolutely did. I'm sure he has a share of women to this day, but they have NDAs, adhering to their silence, to be fair. And, what Myron says is right. You have to be a man amongst men. You have to be on point and be a great provider, a great provisioner, a great protector for a woman to adhere to your lead. That's the only way this thing works. And you have to, make sure that your woman is well taken care of in order for you to have these sort of rules for women. Because if you do and you have a certain wherewithal of cash, a woman will always look the other way. There's the European adage of, men having affairs and having affairs and having liaisons and living different lives away from their wives is a normal thing. It's absolutely normal. As long as they adhere to the cheating rules. But this is a way of bringing it to the forefront and allowing the world to know this is the lifestyle you live. She adheres to it. If I bring somebody else in the relationship, she'll be fine with it because she knows she's going to be taken care of. She'll be properly maintained. And this, again, goes against the gynocracy. This goes against feminism, which is, well, take that as you will. Let me say that. But it does. Let's go.
But you're in your 30s now.
Yeah.
At what point in your life did you discover that monogamy wasn't for you?
Man, I've noticed this in my 20s, since being in college, but actually saying, all right, I'm gonna go into this and exercise that polygamy within a relationship, I didn't really do it until my 30s, because I understood that for you to be able to pull this off, you have to have your stuff together. You can't be a bum, can't be a loser saying, oh, I want to have multiple girls. She's gonna look at you crazy. So if you're gonna go ahead and get that perk, because it is a perk, it's a privilege, you need to earn it. You need to earn it by being that dude.
Great points there raised by Myron. You cannot go around and be a loser and have multiple women. Well, it does happen if you're young, number one. Number two, it only happens for a short time if you indeed are older. I mean, women get tired of the act and they leave. The only way this can continue long term is if indeed you're a man about your money, you're a successful man, you're a man of status, you're a man of gravitas, you're a man, you're a high value man within the community. That's the only way this thing goes down with any sort of longevity. And once you're known as said guy, you know what? As Neil said himself, women will flock to you if you adhere to certain tenets. Nick Cannon doesn't have to ask for much of anything. He knows that he can, women are very well accepting that he is a very successful man and is willing to, and they are willing to be his mistresses. That's the word I was trying to find. His mistresses, the mothers of his children, and because they know that they will be well taken care of. He's allowed to do what he wants, and his kids will always be happy to see him because he is a man who is taking care of them. So who are we to judge again? Let's go. So thank you very much here for Meyer for Fresh and Fit for his take on things. Yes, indeed. This is from Kaizen, but this is from PBD Podcast. Well, we're hearing from the one and only AT. We'll call him AT. And he's going to be talking about if polygamy is indeed natural. Now, he's another guy. All these examples. He's another guy with who has had multiple wives, who has children with many other women. But again, he adheres to this polygamous lifestyle. However, he is Muslim. So this is part of the Quran and the laws of Islam, and so he is not falling against anything. So this is not exactly frowned upon in any way, shape, or form in his world. So, but in the United States, of course, women feminists are going to kick up a fuss because of his the way he lives his life, and Lord knows they're still trying to get him. There's a new charge lodged against him by one of his girlfriends here in the United States. I love to hear what the evidence is about that, so we're going to leave it for the courts to decide. But right now, he's going to talk about if polygamy is natural here on Kaizen / PBD Podcast and their interview with Andrew Tate. Like, subscribe, comment with Kaizen and doing one Kaizen Motive. There you go. Anyways, shout out to him for capturing this for us. But again, this is indeed PBD Podcast. So fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's go.
Part of what I do when I talk, especially about my personal life, to a degree is subversion. I learned this. My father was a chess grandmaster, right? And I used to travel around America with him, and he'd play chess. And back then, there was a lot of former KGB guys who played chess in these massive tournaments. And when they spoke, they were very subversive. He'd introduce you to his girlfriend, and she'd be his wife. And then his other girlfriend, she's his wife. And then his friend is his daughter. And they just say things that aren't really true. Another thing they do is they're very, very emotive with their hands, which is a habit that I kind of learned sometimes. So if they were sitting there and an argument got kind of heated, they'd begin to move their hands a lot as they disagree. Listen to me, listen, da-da-da-da, and they move their hands because then you can't see if they're going to hit you. So they start to move their hands, and you get used to it, and then whack, right? So there's a few things I picked up from them, but there's a degree of subversion. So if I sit and say I have 5 wives, or 10 wives, or 1 wife, or no wife, I like that the Matrix doesn't completely understand what I have. That's one of the main reasons I do it. The second thing is this. I sat there with a reporter from the Telegraph who said that, why would you have 5 wives? If you cheat on them, they're unhappy. And I said, my friend, who are you to tell women how they feel and what decisions they want to make? How insulting of you. How chauvinistic are you to sit and say that women do not have the independent thought to decide, I am prepared to share the top G because of his qualities and accolades and financial capability, as opposed for you to sit here and say they're not allowed to think that. They have to think what we believe they should think, what the Matrix tells them they should think. There are plenty of beautiful women out there who will say, you know what, a man like him, he might do this and that on the side, but you know what, he's my man. There's women who will think that. They won't think it for a loser, but they'll certainly think at the top. When Chris Brown walks in the club and all the girls start screaming, do you think they're going, yes, he'll be loyal? No, he's Chris Brown. They don't give it because of his status. At a certain status of man, and I'm not saying that men should cheat, I'm not saying these things, I'm saying at a certain status of man, the idea of absolute exclusivity and absolute loyalty becomes less important to the female because of his other accolades. That's a fact. Every king...
Great point raised there by AT. Indeed, most women don't care if he has multiple women. I think they assume that he does. The only thing that they wish to have is him for himself, but he knows he's fought too hard and he's made too many sacrifices to get into the candy store to only be beholden to one woman. So therefore, these women are very, very happy, as long as they're taken care of, to look the other way or to have sister wives / other partners. Plain and simple. And so we're starting to see that more in Western society now. Now that times are getting a bit tougher, the economy is a little more cutthroat, and a lot of people are in need of each other. So a man of means he'll easily. I think women will understand that they can easily share themselves among different lives. Now again, if you're a feminist, if you are a traditional conservative who adheres to the laws of marriage, all well and good. No is hating against that. But if there are women who would agree to this idea, and an idea that is indeed ordained by God via the Muslim religion, who are we to judge? Who are we to say? I mean, these men have paid the cost to be the boss, and now they're bosses. They wish to not be adhere themselves to the tenets of marriage and divorce and such, and they wish to live their lives in this sort of way. And it's way more economical, less and more cost effective, to be fair and frank, to be sure. Let's go.
Every sultan, read the Bible. Every warlord had a bunch of women. Why? Because he was the warlord. Muncher didn't, but the warlord did. That's just the way the world's always been.
That distinction, by the way.
There is a distinction.
It's just the top
It's
man.
just the top. And I'm not saying that all men can do it, but that's also my message. I don't say to all men, have a bunch of girls. I don't say that. I say, you better become the fucking man. All I can tell you is what it's like up here and how I got here. If you're telling me you're adamant on staying down there, then don't cry that you're lonely, because I don't know that life. I can't tell you. So once again, I talk about 5 wives, 4 wives, whatever, etc. These feminists who attack me saying he gets these women and he cheats on them. If a female decides she wants to be with me, assuming that's what I even do, I could be Mr. Monogamous for anyone knows, right? Assuming that's what I do, that's her imperative. She's an adult. She can sit there and go, okay, my man's the big boss and he's with me 99% of the time, but I know if he goes to Moscow on a business trip, he's doing X. But he comes home to me and I'm driving a Bentley and I'm happy. That's her imperative. That's her prerogative. It's only the feminists and the people who care so much about misogyny and love the women so much who come along and say women are not allowed to think for themselves. No, they're not allowed to accept that. They can accept whatever they want. Women are the gate.
Again, there are no guns held to these women's foreheads. There is no coercion for these women to be with these men. They want to be with these men. They've chosen to say. Who are we to judge about that? Who are we to judge if a woman wishes? Shout out to Sherworthy LLC. Who are we to judge about that? Who are we to say that it is wrong for these gentlemen to not engage in polygamy or polyamory? If 2 consenting adults allow for it, if a man is of such means that he can indeed pay the cost to be the boss, then so be it. So be it. Now again, the feminist mindset can't think of these things. The traditional conservative won't even let that cross his path. And all the power to them. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. Let you think of that as you will. And the likes of Andrew Tate, the likes of A.T., the likes of Neil, the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, the likes of Nick Cannon, the likes of DeRay Davis, of all these people, they all can't be wrong. And all these women that are with them cannot be wrong. Of all these sister wives who are with these men cannot be wrong, because they can't afford to have these women be at his side and build not only families but communities. And so if they are not part of the public role, if they are not a part of any sort of welfare state, then WTF? Seriously, WTF? What the fuck? Let's go.
Gatekeepers. It's a free market, and women are the gatekeepers. Women have all the choice. If they want to get a guy who doesn't fuck nothing else, they can go get some other guy. Women have all the options in the world. So if last week I was on my yacht in Croatia, there was me, my brother, and like 30 girls. All the girls were getting messages, why are you there? I want to be here. I want to be on his
I'm
boat.
not being held
What's
hostage.
confusing?
I'm not against my
Like,
will
like,
here.
that's their decision to make. How arrogant and narcissistic must you be as a random individual, especially a male, a random, unattractive male with no girlfriend, to message an attractive woman and tell her that what she's doing, she thinks wrong for being with me and my brother on a yacht, and that she should instead want him playing video games at home? What kind of level of delusion are you operating under to even believe that that's a paradigm of reality?
Yeah, it's what can be. It's like entering a club and bottle service. It is a great, as Myron said, it is a great example of what life is. If there are men with bottles and they have a certain amount of level of status and affluence and can afford to have they can afford to pour a certain amount of alcohol for themselves, guess what? Women are going to gravitate towards that. That's what clubbing culture has devolved. Well, I wouldn't say evolved to. I would say evolved to this point in time. If you don't have a table, you're in trouble. If you're not part of a group of men, you're in deep trouble. It's very, very hard for a man with a drink in his hand and no table to deal with women these days. Women have made this decision on their own. No man has put a gun to their head, nor have women had guns to their head when they want to be on yachts. It's the new saying: once you're on a yacht, you get got. It's not out of sheer lunacy or sheer coercion that this has happened. Women like being on yachts. Women like enjoying a certain lifestyle, and if men can provide it, guess what? Certain things can continue, such as polyamory and polygamy. There it is. It's not out of the realm of possibility at all. At all. And we need to come to terms with that here in 2025 because things are changing rapidly, especially in the dating space, especially in the romantic space. Again, more women are turning their focus towards 20% of men. It's up to men to get within that orbit these days. And if you're not within that, and more women are willing to share their men. Especially if you have more money, more muscle, or game hold frame. Women are willing to share their men. Or at least look the other way when it comes to any sort of sexual engagement. And that's what this is all about. Men are exercising their options, as Kevin once said. Yes, it's going to be faced with opprobrium from females, but they've already made their choices. If they really didn't like this lifestyle, they wouldn't be on boats. They wouldn't be signing up for polygamist for polygamous relationships and lifestyles. They wouldn't be a part of polyamory. And as stated already, in most of these societies in which polygamy is accepted, again, the divorce rates are way down because people are much happier in said societies. Let's continue. Safer and happier, to be fair and frank. Let's go.
And these are the people who just like me, who then get exposed to being pedophiles like Dad's Black. So it's just absolutely insane. I'm sorry to keep rambling, but I want to talk about one more thing. I want to talk about one more thing because it's really important. They say I'm a threat to women, which is absolutely not the truth. Couldn't be further from the truth. And I want to say two things about that. I can't think of another person who reached fame as meteorically as me, who never had I've yet to have a single woman come out and accuse me of rape, sexual assault, try and get money from me. None. I have a long and varied history.
Well, to be fair, it did happen today. It did. Well, in the last couple of days, he's been accused of SA by a certain female. But I'm waiting to hear from the evidence. Let's continue.
With females, and not a single one, despite I now have hundreds of millions of dollars, has come forward now the most famous man in the world, despite the newspapers finding them online, finding exes I haven't spoken to for years, calling them and offering them 25 grand for a story, bribe, to turn on me, not one of them has decided to turn on me in live for money. Not one.
Till today.
And that could have very easily happened to me.
Shout out to M3K Photography.
They did, because I'm a gentleman, and these women know that what's happening to me is bullshit. Not a single one has come forward against me, but I'm somehow a threat to women. I would argue that most men in my position, if they had a meteoric rise, one of their stupid exes would go, this guy, yeah, I'll take the money, and start talking shit. I would argue that would happen to a lot of men. Never happened to me. It's the first thing. The second thing I want to argue is when they say I'm a threat to women. If I have choice, why would I be a threat? The threat to women is the man with no access to women. These people who want to do these videos, these unattractive, objectively unattractive, unsuccessful people who do takedown videos of me, who can't get a girlfriend, he's the guy who's going to be dangerous to women. He's the creep. I have choices. If a girl says to me, I don't like you, no problem. Thank God, one less WhatsApp conversation. Goodbye. Have a nice life. Nice to meet you. It doesn't matter to me, right? So the men who are successful with women are not the dangers. It's the men who are unsuccessful with women who are the dangers. So
you know what? And he's right. And case in point, what the new movie, I think we're going to feature that here on Talk Live, Adolescence, that's on Netflix. Again, it is more, how should I say, propaganda against the red pill, against men like Andrew Tate, who, and it's a propaganda film. It literally is a propaganda film. And as soon as it was released, it was brought into discussion in British Parliament, and now they're adhering to, they're trying to get laws so that red pill discussion areas and such things as diverting hate, which is which sees male education, male enhancement as being a domestic terroristic ideal, and any such platforms as domestic terroristic organizations, and that was put forth by the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, is wild, to say the least. Really, really wild. But such is the attack against men and the red pill and the manospheric platforms, and such as Andrew Tate, and again, they're seeking prosecution in the United States now. There you go. So they're looking for trouble in all the right places, all the wrong places. But anyways, we look forward to the evidence that it will be presented. Anywho, but yeah, look out for that adolescence film. That is a huge shot against the red pill and such things as polyamory and polygamy. Quite simply, again, they don't want men of rebellion. Free-thinking men. They don't want that. They want simps. They want simps. They want male simps. They want women controlling things because they'll keep men more docile and less revolutionary. Let's continue. Oh, let's go with that. There we go.
once again, the whole paradigm is shift. It's bullshit. I have no reason to hurt a female or rape a female or trick a female in any regard. Why would I do that?
It's basic economics, supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
If you're high in demand and there's a ton of women there, and one of the women leaves, you have an unlimited supply.
So why am I
But
going
if
to become
one
a weirdo?
man who can't get any females, who has no supply and he's in complete high demand, and the woman breaks his heart, or he can't even get a woman, what kind of ramifications are going to happen for him?
And this is the thing. Daz Black, during the height of the takedown, and it's actually also, it talks to the group, right? Because a lot of the people who did videos to try and take me down did it for completely selfish reasons. If you do, we have learned that the algorithm has now been programmed to reward you doing a negative video on tape. If you do a negative video on tape, you get millions of views. I want millions of views because I have a YouTube channel. I get money, I get clout. Do I give a shit if it's true? Do I give it about Tate? Do I give it about the ramifications in his life? No. All these other people did it, so I'm going to do it. So people start jumping on the bandwagon, right? Tate's bad, Tate's bad, Tate's bad, for their own personal selfish views. So a guy called Daz Black did a video on me, about 10 million hits, trying to say that I'm a threat to women. He's objectively unattractive. He's an obese video game. Did a video on me saying that I'm a threat to women. After that, women start coming forward.
He is indeed an obese, rather unattractive video gamer. You saw his picture there. Anyways, let's continue.
Saying, this guy has spoke to a 13-year-old girl. Here's the videos. This guy buys sexual things from an underage girl. It's all coming out about him being a pedophile now. So he's sitting there as the criminal himself, filled of hate and envy at an innocent man, plus clout chasing, attacking me. When truthfully, who's turned out to be the threat to women? How many women have come forward about me? 0. How many women have come forward about him? 2 and count. It's absolutely and utterly, it's crazy. And if these social media companies have any kind of consciousness and any kind of brain, they should be analyzing this in real time, going, we've f***ed up. We've f***ed up here.
Thank you very much to Mr. Tate for his take on the subject. Again, he has these certain views regarding people trying to take him down, of course. But again, that is Andrew Tate being AT being AT. So we have this little caption here about why men need 2 wives. I thought this was brilliant. Anyways, let's let this play.
To be him. It's because they seek power. Like if they see a man and he has only 1 wife, every single guy in the world has only 1 wife. But when they see a man and he has 2, 3, 4 wives, they know he's the real deal.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's move on. Oh my gosh! Shout out to Black Cinder for that. But here's another take on polyamory from a black woman herself. Let's hear what she has to say on polygamy right here on Talk Live. Anyway, so Mo Quick ATL, shout out to him for this.
But if I could share my food that I need to survive, my sustenance, why wouldn't I also be able to share my husband that she might need to survive, to sustain not only her life, but her kid's life? I mean, is that not the ultimate form of love? Super unpopular opinion. But if I could share my food that I need to survive, my sustenance, why wouldn't I also be able to share my husband that she might need to survive, to sustain not only her life, but her kid's life? I mean, is that not the ultimate form of love?
Wonderful ideas there by the lady in question here. I do not know her name, so I'll I will leave it there. But I'm thinking that she is a Muslim woman, and again, I think that's another take on polygamy in and of itself, in that it is the ultimate form of love shown from person to person, in the sense of you being allowed to garner resources, garner protection and provision, garner sexual pleasure, garner many things from a man that she couldn't get, she may not have been able to get on her own. And for her to give this gift to a woman, that is the ultimate gift, really. And again, an interesting take on things, to be fair, right? Very, very enlightening, to be sure. But let's get into this video about Nick Cannon's baby mama reveals that what it's like in their polygamous relationship. Now, again, Nick is not married to these women. A lot of these women are baby mothers by choice, to be fair. But they realize who they're dealing with, and so they allow for this to happen. So again, allow for for them to be impregnated by this man, because they know they're going to be taken care of. Not only are the children going to be taken care of, but so are they. So they are only too willing to allow for Nick Cannon to be a paramour, if not a father, to their children. So we're going to get into this conversation. Shout out to Nick. What's it now? Nick Jones, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. Like and subscribe to him and his little conversation with a baby mama of Nick Cannon herself, and how indeed was his life in their polygamous lifestyle. Let's continue.
I'm not trying to be messy or nothing like that. I just saw this clip. I thought it was interesting. She's talking about her relationship with Nick Cannon, essentially saying that they have an open relationship, that she can do whatever she wants, he can do whatever he wants, and that's how she likes it. And it's so interesting because...
Okay, before we go into this, Nick Jones, he is a traditional conservative commentator. So he is giving the alternative argument with regards to the alternative argument, and the counter argument to the whole idea of polygamy and polyamory, to be fair. So he is critiquing the lifestyle, the relationship that this lady, Miss Tiesi, has with Nick Cannon and their 2-year-old, I believe. So again, this is more of a critique than a backing of said lifestyle. Let's continue.
I feel like, and this is no judgment, this is, well, I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people, they think about themselves and they think about the situation and how it could benefit them, but they don't necessarily think about their children all the time, because I'm pretty sure if you asked their child, I think they have a son together, her and Nick Cannon have a son together. I'm pretty sure if you asked the child, he would most definitely want his mom and dad together 100% of the time.
So again, he is adhering for a more traditional relationship, more of a religious relationship, especially a Christian one. He uses the use of the child and wanted to have them in one unit together as a family in a traditional household. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I lived in such a with such a lifestyle, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But he is saying this to the criticism of a polygamous lifestyle in the use of children, saying that the mother and father should be in the same home with their children, adhering to more of a traditional conservative sort of lifestyle and more of a Christian sort of lifestyle in and of itself. Let's continue.
You know what I'm saying? But let's watch and let's have a conversation.
We don't co-parent. We are very much together. And that's why people are confused.
Wait, okay, can you explain, Bree, to the listeners, who, if they don't know, I want to know your situation.
Yeah, so me and my partner have been on and off for years, and basically he has other partners, and we're just open and happy, and that's our thing. So
what would you call that? Is that...
People call it all kinds of shit. I call it just, I do what I want to do.
It's just your situation.
I'm very, I'm not a jealous person. I don't care about, I don't want a conventional relationship. I don't want a full live-in, person I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for my child.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though. You're together, but you're not together.
So again, this lady is, a typical polyamory, polygamous sort of wife, where she would she does not want to adhere to religious tenets, does not want to have the father in home all the time. All she wants is to live through her child. And a lot of women are doing that these days. A lot of women would rather just not have the father in the home, just have him provide, come into their lives from time to time, for special moments. But other than that, she would for the most part, be the person taking care of their child in the whole. Well, for the most part, and she's totally fine with that. She's totally happy with that idea. She wanted something different from ordinary Anglo-Saxon, traditional, conservative, religious, Christian sort of life, where a man and woman is in the house with a picket fence and they're raising their children together and such, and never, let no man put asunder sort of deal. So, with that, she is, she's happy in this sort of lifestyle. Now, again, Nick Jones is going to have something to say about that, because he is one who believes that this goes against how Western society has been created and raised and has become one of the greater societies in living memory, to have this nuclear family together as one under God. And again, he's going to use a lot of religious sort of arguments in order to back up his claims. Let's go.
but you said you don't want like a full live-in person that you're responsible for. You're responsible for your child. But in the best interest of your child, it seems like y'all could make it work because y'all are together, right? So basically, let's decode. To decode a little bit, not to get too vulgar, but I mean, obviously, y'all, doing the thing, spending the night doing the thing together, and then, he might go his separate ways and, shack up with somebody else or vice versa. I don't know how it works, but like you said, it works for y'all. But clearly, there's still some type of affinity between you two. And it's like, yo, I'm pretty sure your son would love to have mommy and daddy in the house.
I think for shout out to Nick Jones for making the point. I think he's saying that the whole idea of polygamy should be done away with simply for the best interest of the child. And again, this goes towards another red pill tenet of having a two-parent household, and that being the best way to raise children, which he is totally at liberty of doing so. He's totally at liberty for adhering to that fact. But again, a lot of modern women aren't adhering to that anymore. They are not exactly falling in line with such an idea, because again, if a woman can be supported fully by their father, yet they have control of how their child is raised, then a woman's going to take it. They're going to take that with both hands. Now, again, I say that a man needs to be there to help that boy become a man, help women stay out the pole and men out of jail. Absolutely. But we are at a point where women are making these sort of decisions on their own. They don't want the man to be there in their life. They don't want their man to have the hegemony in terms of responsibility and be the man of the house anymore. They're very happy, and again, they're very happy to allow a man to come in from time to time and be a father, but they have total control of the day-to-day raising of their children. And there's a double-edged sword in the sense of, yes, in a polygamous lifestyle, this is a free choice. But again, this is a sort of this is the devil's advocate I'm playing here, in the sense of a child would be much better to be raised with the father, if not in a two-parent household, than it is in this one. So this is where the holes in the polygamous argument lies, in the sense of the father's not there full time in order to help raise the child properly if given the opportunity, especially in this relationship. But again, he's there, as said in Miss Jackson's by Outkast, on the first day of school and graduation. And, for many, seminal times in between. Let's continue.
A 100% of the time, not just when y'all feel like it. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that wouldn't be possible either way you slice it, because Nick Cannon has like 10 plus kids, so it's not like he can be in the house for all of them. But I don't know. This is what I thought. I suspected something like this was going on, because I was wondering, yo, how does Nick Cannon balance this maybe baby mamas? There's a lot of baby mamas. How does he? Listen, I got one baby mama. I don't understand how this man be balancing 5, 6 baby mamas. It don't make no sense, but he bouncing around between all of them. This is some men's fantasy.
See Myron Gaines.
But this is a nightmare to me.
And again, yeah, Nick Jones is just, is telling you who he is. He is a traditional conservative. He's a man about one man, one wife, one child, and no other baby mamas out there. And again, that's more of a original take, a religious take to have. but it's and he's well entitled to have it. I mean, again, I've always said that that's the fly in the ointment of polygamy is the fact that the father's not usually there in the lives of his children. But the only way that is solved is if they're all raised under one roof. So the father's there, but there are different women, there are different children, so they have to live under a different lifestyle. So it's not very much a nuclear family as it is an extended one. But we have to we have to give Jack his jacket here. That is something that only certain men can encounter, and that is certain men of status, of means, of protection, of provision, of problem solving, and women will adhere to that too. But yeah, you have to find the woman who will allow for this, such as Miss Tiesi over here. However, it's not for everyone. It literally isn't for everyone. This is the fly in the ointment, is the sense of the father isn't there on a daily basis, helping to raise that child, helping them to foster better family, better family relations and proper marriage and love, interest, boyfriend, girlfriend, relationship tenets that only a father and a mother can provide who are in the same home, so they can see that example and they can pass down an example to their children. That is something that is the fly in the ointment to this thing, and I totally get what Nick Jones has to say, but again, horses for courses, as they say, and certain women are living this life simply because it agrees with their with how they live theirs, and it has to be recognized. Let's continue.
But once again, I guess they make it work.
I feel like this is probably, which is so crazy, is like the healthiest relationship I've ever had.
It's amazing.
Like, we never fight. We never have any toxicity. Like, we don't argue, like nothing. And, he's the best dad and he's so present. Like, I've never asked this man to do something and he doesn't do it. Like, it's ever. Like, so I don't
so
have
does
any
he live with you?
complaints. No, I mean, we both work and travel a lot, but it's like we spend multiple nights like together. We have,
this is amazing.
Yeah, we have set nights that we have, like we go to our yoga all the time. And like we had the nights that we put my son to bed, like we have a full schedule. Weekends are sports. Like, he's very involved. And I think people just, I don't know. I mean,
have opinion because they're always going to have an opinion on something.
Yeah, but he's involved with those that want to be involved. Like,
right.
The people that I guess he doesn't deal with don't necessarily want or need him around, but I feel like anyone that chooses that or wants that, like, he's happy to do that. He obviously understands the situation that we're in. So he's really good at just doing what makes everybody happy.
And just before we move on there, I mean, that's the one thing that a lot of polygamists, a lot of polyamorous would shoot back at the fact that, yes, indeed, there is a sort of rota of adherence to child care and child rearing that mostly people agree to, and then they get along fine. But something that Myron brought to my attention is the fact that, a lot of these women, a lot of women would fall in line with this idea because they know he is the man, he is the individual. So you're getting a lot of submission, a lot of cooperation from these ladies because they know that he can leave at any time, he can go anywhere he wants. And so for the man in this position, he would have a power dynamic over these women, but these women are fully fully adherent to said ideas and will allow the man his space to do what he wants. But when he comes back, they'll be fully observant and fully submissive to him as well, because they know he's a high value man who can go in anywhere he wants. So any sort of time that he gives up to them is greatly received. Now this doesn't. Repeat, doesn't. It's not something for everyone. It is not something for everyone at all. And again, it's about choice at the end of the day. Do you choose to have one woman Do you choose to have, if you're of high value, do you choose to have one woman? Do you choose to have, a mistress? But again, you follow the cheating rules. Do you choose to have a polyamorous relationship? Do you choose to have a polygamous relationship? These are all choices that are allowed. And again, as Neil said earlier on, he puts out what he wants, and the universe comes back to him with what he needs. And again, it's something to think about. But again, for the man in this side of relationship, this would allow for a lot of I don't want to say that. Allows for a lot of compromise, a lot of cooperation on the part of a female. I was going to say obedience, but again, I don't want to irk a few feminists out there. So I won't say that. I will say that it allows for a lot of cooperation in the parts of women because they realize that at any time he could leave. So any sort of attention, any sort of time, any sort of quality time. Any sort of quality time that a man can provide in these sort of scenarios, a woman will be totally in agreement with. And so as long as she gets a certain amount of quality time and he goes away, I think the bonds will be stronger to that man. And Myron says it himself, a man needs to separate in certain circumstances have to separate himself from his woman because again, every time they're close, they're near, they're close together, then they are totally happy with them being there simply because he's allowing for a certain amount of a lot of precious time, a lot of quality time between the two parties. Simply because when he comes back, I think they concentrate on what matters and they have a good time regardless. And animosity, hate, vitriol, any sort of criticism is held to the minimum because they want to make sure that their time is good time spent with each other. Let's continue. Sorry, I had to ramble on there for a second, but yeah.
Your son has an amazing dad. I'm obsessed with him. Like you can
so
see,
lovely.
like you'll see, he's like obsessed with his dad. I'm like, excuse me, I'm here. He's like, bye.
No, because he's obsessed with you.
Obsessed.
So how old is your son now?
He's two. He's almost 2.5. Yeah.
And what's your favorite thing about being a mom? Because I'm like in that stage where I'm like I've been basically trying to get my husband.
Okay. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I feel like I feel like from the standpoint of the child, and I'm not trying to be like CPS right now. I'm just saying, like, from the standpoint of the child, you would think that would be even more confusing, like seeing that relationship like a couple nights a week, and then they have their night where they put him down to sleep, and then he's gone, and I don't know, man. It's just, it is what it is. I don't understand how people don't desire a traditional marriage, or people just don't see the value in a traditional marriage anymore. It's very disheartening that people don't see the value in that anymore.
The reason why they don't see it, especially men, don't see value in that because men want variety. Certain men are very happy in the lives that they live, but a lot of men don't. A lot of men would rather have a certain amount of spice, a certain amount of change of scenery. They don't want to be trapped in the same prism, in the same sort of milieu, in the same sort of living conditions that they're used to. They want it. They like change. They like movement, and again, they want a different choice of women, unfortunately. And they could be black, but they could change. But that's exactly what men are looking for. They were looking for change. They're looking for variety. They're looking for a difference. And you're not going to get a difference by being in a solid relationship. Yes, but an unchanging one. Thank you. We're going to be going into our final hour here on Talk Live, so do stay with us. We'll come back to Nick Jones and what he had to say about polygamy and said marriage is coming soon. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. We're going into the third hour here on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to get into this final hour here on the live. We're just lighting things up. There it is. And we're going to continue with what Nick Jones has to say, who is indeed... Welcome back to Talk Live here on IG and YouTube into our third hour of, Neo and Shaq bringing polygamy back. There it is. I was looking for that. Neo and Shaq bringing polygamy back, or should I say polyamory back? And it's and we're just viewing the video of Nick Jones. Nick Jones is indeed a conservative, traditional conservative platform, and he gives his views on different news items of the day, and from a traditional conservative point of view, including including the polygamous lifestyle take here, and again, for the sake of the child, he believes that a traditional marriage should be adhered to, but again, for a man who has paid the cost to be the boss, as I already stated, he's not willing to stay in said traditions and wants to explore. And again, who are we to judge? But again, in terms of the children, there is something to be said about that. There is definitely something to be said about that. And having a father in there day and night who will help them raise their child en masse. Now, the only way to remedy that is indeed to have all children from all polygamous / polyamorous relationships under one roof, but that usually doesn't work. That's on the rare occasion, and so we're left with these sort of choices, and it's up to a man to make said choice according to his status and income. Let's continue.
It's become a thing that is less desirable, and I don't really know why. I think there's a big misconception about marriage. There's a large negative connotation about marriage that your life ends and that you're you strapped down, chained down, can't do nothing. Like everyone talks about, oh, once you get married, then you stop getting some and all this type of stuff, right? And this has just been fed to us by the world, because the world, they don't prioritize God in their marriage. And so inevitably, when you don't prioritize God in your marriage, it's probably going to fall apart, because two human beings, when they come together, yes, it could be good for a period of time, but it's inevitable that you're going to have some hardship and you're going to have some challenge and you're going to probably not like each other for a little bit. Doesn't mean you don't still love each other, but you're probably going to have moments where you don't like each other. But what do you do in those moments? Who can you fall back on? Or what do you fall back on? And if you don't have God in that relationship, at the center, on top of that relationship, then you fall into some stuff that ultimately leads you away from one another, and then you get divorced.
So again, this is a typical answer from a traditional conservative, and he's entitled to it. Again, if you don't put God first, then marriage is going to fail, and you will fall prey of these debaucherous lifestyles. And it is, it is the typical answer from a traditional conservative, in the sense of, they don't understand the decentralization of the sexual marketplace. They don't understand how women are indeed taking advantage of marriage for themselves and for their own to their own end. And it is the world has changed. The world has changed from the days where indeed traditional conservatism was well received and well adhered to, because of the fact you're getting good women at the end. But at the end of the day, a lot of these women in the decentralized sexual marketplace are indeed, going through sexual or exploration themselves, and they're not and they are changing their views on polygamy and polyamory themselves. And so, not only are men following this lifestyle, but women are as well, because of the fact that they want those sexual freedoms. So but again, it's nothing wrong with being involved in a traditional conservative lifestyle, but to some, it is a yuck, and to their yum, and their yum is being a polygamous lifestyle, and indeed there are drawbacks to this, and it is to have that sweet spot, meaning that everybody lives under one roof. That's where things really come together, but for the most part, that ain't the case, because we live in a feminist prism, and a lot of women wouldn't be accepting of that, despite their sexual freedoms. Let's continue.
No secret why we see divorce rates higher and higher than they've ever been before. But
the reason why the divorce rates are higher and higher than they've ever been before, because women are given the opportunity to leave, and they know they could be incentivized by leaving. So it's not exactly a fall of the religion, but it is due to the fact that women, because most of the divorces are launched by women, but women are given the choice, and they're choosing themselves over their families. Let's go.
Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if there's anything else that she said. Hold on, let me see. Well, I wouldn't be able to tell anyway. But let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think? Because this man.
There you go. So thank you very much to Nick Jones. I told you what I thought, and really, really good stuff from him there. But again, finally to end this night. This is 9 minutes. This is 5 minutes. Perfect. Finally, end this night, we're going to get into the difference between polyamory, polygamy, not in Africa and America, because they are two different things. And it is brought to us by the one and only Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, and his interview with Francis Ngannou, the former UFC heavyweight champion. Now got himself into into the boxing realm. So again, let's hear from how polygamy in Africa and America is viewed, Africa versus America is viewed through Francis Ngannou. So let's get into this, and then we'll close up for the evening.
Dating, marriage, what you want to accomplish, what you're trying to accomplish, is that in the future?
I don't know. Right now, I don't think about it. Like, I remember when I left Cameroon, I wanted maybe to get married. I don't know, but what I wanted the most was to have kids, because I wasn't knowing where I was going, so I wanted to leave a legacy behind me. Somebody that will remember me through, like, at least once there was a friend or something, right?
Right.
So that's something that I really want so hard, and I think that's the only moment that I was thinking about marriage. It was just to have a baby, right? Then after that, I get into this life that my condition is very bad. So you don't think about women, you think about how to
get out of the situation,
get out of this situation and get better, and then this thing just keep rolling. And even when it's changing and getting better, you're in the same pool, rolling in the same way.
Right.
And until you wake up someday, I'm like, it's been 10 years, it's been 8 years, damn. But you don't feel a need, it's something that you want, so, I don't know. Even though, like, in Africa, they've been pushing me even before I left Cameroon to get married.
Yeah, you be a king.
Yeah. No, I say even before I left.
Right, to get married. Now,
yeah, even before I left Cameroon for the first time.
Yeah.
My grandpa wanted me to get married. I was 20 years old. They wanted us to get married. And then, not to get only married for one girl, multiple.
So you can see that Francis Ngannou himself would like to be in more of a polygamous relationship, because he comes from such traditions in Cameroon. he would rather be with multiple women than just one woman. So, but again, that's part of African tradition in certain countries, such as Cameroon, such as Nigeria, such as Ghana. These sort of places allow for polygamy. So it's not just a religious thing. Yeah, of course, it's not just religious thing. It's more of a cultural ideal, as is seen here, as explained by Francis Ghana. Let's continue.
Grandpa, I like Grandpa. I made it eat meat, Grandpa.
No, out there is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although for some reason at this age, people don't even want to get married.
Right.
Before it was like kind of like a culture. People have to marry.
So marriage is not as big now in Cameroon as it was when you were a kid.
Because people now is so more into this Western style, like oh yes, and this, and women started think differently. Even men, they don't want this responsibility, because before, polygamy in Africa, at first, most marriage in Africa for men was a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't to have fun, even like to get married, even to have multiple wives. Most of the time, in the many situations, it wasn't like, oh, I like those women so much.
Right.
It was a situation that you have to first, for example, like when a guy in a community was successful, he needs to get married from wife in a different neighborhood around the community, so to give people many chance. Because if you get married here, other community will be like, oh, he doesn't care about us. He should have married the kids of us, and they will want you to marry the girl from that community.
Wow.
So then you find out people that are getting married just for opportunity, to give opportunity for community. Why? Because unlike here, when you have a daughter there, all your life is a worry. You don't know how she's gonna end up. You don't know. You're worried if ever she's gonna have a roof, or to have somebody to take care. And then there's this guy that's gonna take care of her. You don't care if she's the 5th or the 10th wife.
Wow.
Take it, bro. And that's how some people were getting a lot of wives just to give chance to community. And also one thing that was
just before going on there, so as Francis Ngannou said, is a way to share the wealth or share the spoils of another man's success, and families would willingly put, and I'm sure this is part of traditional communities, families would willing put up their daughters so that they can have a better life, so that their families and their children can have better lives. And some would see it as selfish that one man with so many riches can only marry one wife. And these men were pushed to marry different women from different communities so that they can spread the wealth, that they can make their communities better simply by spreading their money, their status, their importance throughout different communities. And that is enlightening to us in the West, because again, this sort of thing would be we would take the more selfish outlook on things, in the sense that one man, one wife, he shouldn't be spreading himself too thin around too many women. But in these sort of cultures, in these sort of societies in Africa, it was allowed. It was actually advocated. It was heralded that a man takes a wife in different communities so that he can spread his largesse to these different communities and make them better. So that is a totally different way of looking at things from an African point of view, to be fair. Let's continue.
Very important. If your brother or your family member passed away and left a wife with children,
you had to take
one of you guys have to take that wife. Like whether you like it or not, somebody have to take it.
But you're not gonna sleep with the wife, though.
No,
right?
you'll sleep with.
No,
you
no.
will take the wife.
Yeah, I'm just taking. Say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna take care of you and make sure.
Yeah, but you can take a wife and just not sleep with.
Yeah, you can. You can. Come on.
You're gonna take. Why? Because and the reason why they were doing that, the family was doing that because they didn't want a wife to live with their kids and get out there, get married with somebody that will mistreat those kids.
Right.
Because with the situation
not-
being very complicated, I mean, this guy is going to work hard and then maybe get home barely have food for 2-3 people. And then if he has a kid, it's for the 3. The other guy, kid, it's not my kids, right? So the family didn't want that to happen. So they wanted to keep the wife and the kids into the family. So somebody have to step up and take that as a responsibility.
Wow. I'm glad that.
Wow, that is something. That is a bit of a revelation there from Francis Ngannou, in that polygamy was seen as a way of sharing the wealth, as was stated by that black Muslim lady in her short. It was a way of spreading the wealth and showing love to that woman and keeping her in the family. So a brother of a deceased husband would take that wife in and keep them in the family, keep their children, keep the woman's children within the family to be raised in said culture. So polygamy is seen as a way of keeping a family together. And that is not usually explained in America, where polygamy is seen as a way for a man to sow his wild oats. When in Africa, it's seen as a way of keeping a family together, and that's very revealing, very revealing how a man can how African societies, especially in Cameroon and many other countries, see this as a way of keeping families strong and keeping families together, and it's really very enlightening in its viewpoint, as his friend Francis Ngannou. Now again, Shay would say that this is different, totally different from how things are in America, where many different wives is frowned upon, but in Africa it's actually heralded for all those different reasons. So shout out to the interview there with Shannon Sharp and Francis Ngannou. And again, it is really revealing how things are. Let me just see how much time I have left here. 11:57. So we're gonna cut it here, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna cut it here. I usually try to have a midnight cut off. We were going to have a little debate with a Jubilee style debate about polygamy, but I think we've gone into it enough here. Now, let me just get back to the big screen, back to the full cam. So again, polygamy is not for everybody. Polygamy is only for the few who can take care of multiple women, of multiple wives. Polyamory is only for those who can adhere to the lifestyle. And the likes of Neo, the likes of Shaq are starting to buy into this ideal. They're really starting to extol the virtues of said ideals. And who are we to judge them on what is said? But again, it must be added that being a father to multiple children may be critiqued. Being a proper father may be critiqued if one is not in their house on a daily basis and not seeing how a healthy relationship is allowed to thrive. This is a new type of relationship, a new type of lifestyle, and a lot of people wouldn't adhere to it, especially traditional conservatives and feminists. Absolutely wouldn't. But again, it is if the man is taking care of his business and is being a good father, being a good protector and provider, who are we to judge? However, again, in terms of child rearing, there are flies in the ointment and flaws in this argument. So to each his own, however you want to see things. But I think polygamy for the most part shouldn't be frowned upon, especially if a man can take care of his sets and be a good father to his children and be a good a good lover, a good husband, a good common law, a good partner to his wife, and allow for a relationship to flourish in an unconventional yet, for the most part, masculine sort of way. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. We're going to end it here. We've gone over about 2 hours here, and I'm going to get back to this March Madness here. I think it's Duke and Arizona playing. It's actually a good game. But we'll be back tomorrow night for another show, one more show for the week. And there will be changes coming up with regards to Talk Live going on in future. We will, the schedule will adjust for the next month, so do look out for any sort of current listings on that. And thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Polygamy. Neil's made it great, but Shaq is making it a little bit greater. But we'll see what happens with this ideal down the road. But again, there are many experts on polygamous lifestyles. You can go look at it on YouTube and many other platforms to get yourself involved in these certain things. But again, if the children and if the wives are taken care of, then who are we to judge? Indeed. And thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. And we're going to say good night from Toronto. And thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live tonight. Yeah, the Jays lost today, but hopefully they'll do better tomorrow. Because today was an absolute shambles, really. But again, a lot to learn from polygamy and polyamory. And I would ask you to look out for, certain novels and lectures, because what Neil's doing is not new. It is not new. This is something that's come down through the ages, through the epochs of time, and it's come back in vogue again today because men don't want to lie anymore. The men don't want to be philanderers and carouse any more than they need to, and it's living in truth. And clear that Neil doesn't adhere to normal, traditionally conservative family relations and marriage. So he has decided to put it out there in the open. And if women want to sign on to the idea, if they are having a good time in doing it, then indeed, who are we to judge? However, there's something to be said about being an upstanding father. And, it needs to be made clear that that father has a great relationship with their children. And it's best that he is in these children's lives as much as possible. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live on IG and YouTube. And we'll say good